They say some dances are meant for the living and some for the dead. If I had listened to Mama's warning that night, if I had remembered the tales my grandmother whispered about the current rhythm that echoes at midnight, maybe I wouldn't be telling this story from the edge of memory, wrapped in fear and regret. I was once the pride of our street in Yaba, smart, polite, destined for great things, but all it took was one night, one nightclub, one dance. Now the spirits follow me, shadows linger at my feet. My dreams are full of drums that never stop and eyes that do not blink. And if I don't make this right, something ancient will take me before my next sunrise. Let me tell you how it all began. I was born in Yaba, Lagos. Not the high-rise Yaba people brag about on social media. No, I mean the Yaba where you know your neighbor's cough, where you fetch water in the morning with slippers slapping against wet concrete, and where old women sit outside with wrapper and chewing stick gossiping like it's their job. My name is Anna Okori, and for a long time I was the perfect daughter. I always came first in school. I greeted elders with a full, "Good morning, sir," not just a nod. I helped Mama at her food stall every Saturday without complaint. People would call out, "Anna, that girl go reach university abroad." I believed them. I was different. But then came senior secondary too, and with it, Nkechi and Bimbo. They transferred into our school with loud hair, shiny phones, and stories I had never heard before. They laughed like they owned the world, wore lip gloss that smelled like bubble gum, and whispered about places I'd never been. "You never got nightshade before?" Nkechi asked me one afternoon. "What's that?" I said, innocent. Bimbo's eyes widened. "Girl, it's only the hottest nightclub in Lagos. Big men go there. DJs from Dubai CF. Forget this your homegirl lifestyle, you too serious." I laughed nervously. "I'm not allowed to go out at night." "Allowed?" Nkechi mocked, tossing her braided wig. "You're not a child. Or are you still sucking Mama's breast?" Their laughter was sharp. I should have walked away. I should have. But the truth is, a part of me wanted to be seen, to belong, to sparkle. And so the first seed was planted. The first time I lied to Mama, it scraped my chest like hot sand. "I'm staying over at Bimbo's. We have a school project." Mama gave me that look, the one that sees deeper than eyes should. "Anna, are you sure?" I nodded quickly, not meeting her eyes. "Yes, Ma." She sighed and said, "Remember who you are. A child who forgets her roots is like a tree that dances in the wind until it snaps." I nodded again. I was already halfway out the door. That night, Lagos was alive. Not the Lagos of heat and traffic. This was the Lagos of blinking lights, thumping music, and perfume so strong it made my nose itch. Nightshade sat at the edge of Victoria Island, hidden like a secret. The bouncer was tall and looked like he'd wrestled a lion once or twice. He eyed us, then smiled when Bimbo flashed something, I think money or a promise, and we were in. Inside it was like stepping into another world. Red lights, smoke. Music that throbbed like a heartbeat. People danced like their bones were liquid. I stood frozen, overwhelmed. "Loosen up!" Nkechi shouted, grabbing my hand. "This is life." I smiled weakly, but something was off. In the corner of the club was a small stage draped in black, and on it a masked woman danced. Not with joy, no. Her movements were sharp, broken, almost painful. Her eyes were wild, scanning the room like she was trapped. I blinked. Was she even real? I turned to Bimbo. "Who's that?" She glanced over and shrugged. "That one? She's always there. They call her the Midnight Girl. Just vibes." But I couldn't stop watching, because I swear, her eyes locked on mine, and then she mouthed something. "Leave!" But I didn't. And that's when the drums began. At first, I thought it was part of the DJ's mix. But this beat was different. It wasn't in the music, it was under it, like a second heartbeat beneath the club's pulse. Thump, thump, thump. I looked around. No one else seemed to notice. People kept dancing, grinding, drinking. Bimbo was taking selfies. Nkechi was talking to some boy with gold teeth. But I heard it. And worse, I felt it. Like the floor was breathing. I turned toward the stage. The midnight girl was gone. Gone. In her place was a tall figure in shadow, arms long like tree branches, skin dark and cracked like old wood. He wore a crown made of cowrie shells and bones. I couldn't move. He raised one hand and pointed straight at me. "She has danced," he said, voice like dry harmattan wind. "She belongs to the night now." Then the light went out. When the lights came back on, everything seemed normal. The music resumed. People laughed. Bimbo and Nkichi were dancing like nothing happened. Had I imagined it? I wanted to believe I had, but I couldn't shake the way the masked girl had looked at me, or the man made of shadows with the cowrie crown. We left the club around 3 a.m., drunk on excitement and fake confidence. Bimbo kept shouting, "We run Lagos!" while Nkechi laughed so hard she dropped her purse. Me? I was silent. Even as I entered our compound in Yaba, I felt it. Something had followed me. I looked behind several times. Nothing. But the feeling sat on my shoulder like a bird waiting to peck. When I opened the door, Mama was sitting on the couch. Waiting? Her eyes narrowed. "You went out." My throat was dry. "No, Ma, She stood. "You smell like spirits, both the drink and the ones that don't wear flesh." I froze. She walked up to me and placed her palm on my forehead, whispering something in Igbo I hadn't heard in years. "An old prayer, maybe?" Her voice trembled. "What did you see, Anna?" she asked quietly. And even though I wanted to lie, something broke inside me. I told her everything. The girl on the stage, the man in shadows, the drums, the voice. Mama's eyes darkened with a fear I had never seen before. She whispered, "Ayembo." The night is coming, and it was coming for me. By dawn, word had spread. In a place like Yaba, secrets are as rare as silence. Mama took me straight to Baba Goke, the oldest man on our street. They said he hadn't left his compound in 15 years, but he knew things, deep things, the kind you don't find on Google or inside books. His compound smelled of herbs and dust. Goats wandered freely, and a carved staff taller than me leaned against his porch. He looked at me with eyes like storm clouds. "You have danced with spirits," he said without a greeting, "and now they want their due." My knees weakened. "I didn't mean to," I whispered. Baba Goke chuckled, a dry sound. "The forest does not care if the child meant to stray. Once the foot steps where it should not, the spirits mark it." He told us the story of the midnight rhythm, an old urban myth few believed. Long ago, there was a powerful dancer, a girl who called down the rain with her feet. When a jealous king tried to force her into marriage, she cursed his palace by dancing through it at midnight. The palace burned to ash, but her spirit remained, and every decade, in some forgotten corner of Lagos, she returned to find another dancer. A soul innocent but reckless, a girl drawn to music she didn't understand. Nightshade, Baba Goke said, was built on cursed land. The rhythm lives there now, and you, Anna, have joined the circle. "What happens now?" Mama asked, her voice tight. "She must return," Baba Goke said. "Before the 7th night she must dance again, but this time with truth in her heart." "And if I don't?" I asked. He looked at me, long deep. "Then you will never leave the rhythm. You will become her." I tried to live normally after that. Go to school, avoid Bimbo and Nkichi, pretend everything was fine, but it wasn't. On the 2nd night, I started sleepwalking. Mama found me in the middle of the road barefoot, twirling slowly. On the 3rd night, the mirrors in our house cracked, all at once. On the 4th, I began hearing music no one else could hear, even in broad daylight. The drums, always the drums. Nkichi came to me, looking pale. "Have you been seeing things?" she asked. I nodded. She broke down in tears. "Something is wrong. Since that night, I feel like something is crawling under my skin." Bimbo hadn't come to school in 2 days. Her mother said she screamed at night, clawing at her own face. We were unraveling, all of us, and time was running out. On the 6th night, Baba Gok gave me an old cloth tied with red thread. Inside was Anke, a ritual powder from our ancestors. He smeared it across my forehead and feet. You must go back, he said. But this time you must not dance with fear. You must dance with memory of who you were before you were tempted. You must reclaim yourself from the rhythm. Mama wept as I prepared to leave. Whatever happens, I told her, thank you for not giving up on me. I arrived at Nightshade just before midnight. It looked abandoned, broken lights, cracked windows, silence like a threat. But inside, the drums were waiting. The stage glowed. The masked girl was there. Only this time, she was me. She stepped down from the stage and walked toward me silent. Every step echoed. Her mask melted away as she drew near. It was my face, but hollow, empty-eyed. Who are you? I whispered. I am the you who stayed, she replied. The one who never came back. I am what happens when you forget your name. No, I said, gripping the NKA. I remember. Then the drums roared, louder than ever. The room spun. The spirits came, tall and twisted, eyes like coal fires. They circled me, chanting in tongues I didn't know but somehow understood. Dance, dance, dance. So I did, but not like before. I danced not to belong but to break free, not with pride, but with truth. I moved with the steps Mama taught me as a child, the folk steps, the village rhythms. With every stomp, the shadows cracked. With every spin, the spirits wailed. I danced until my limbs burned, until the fake version of me screamed and vanished into smoke, until the drums stopped. I woke up on the 7th morning at Baba Goke's compound, wrapped in white cloth. The cast was broken. Nkechi and Bimbo slowly returned to themselves. Though they no longer danced in clubs, we all danced at Mama's birthday some weeks later, the kind of dance where laughter lives. Mama hugged me like I'd returned from the grave. Maybe I had. The spirits no longer whispered my name, but I never forgot. And I never stepped into a place I didn't understand again. In our culture, there is a saying, when the child forgets the drumbeat of home, the forest will teach it a new rhythm, one it may never escape. I forgot, but I remembered in time. Not everyone does. So if you ever hear drums in the night, drums no one else hears, do not follow, unless you are ready to dance with shadows.